The coaching foundation. Welcome to the topic of today. We will be talking exactly what needs to be done to be an effective coach or a trainer thereby. So let us proceed. Coaching, what exactly is it? It's a development activity in which a supervisor works on one-to-one basis with someone in coaching role to improve the current job performances and enhance their capabilities for future roles and challenges. That is what exactly is coaching, where it is a one-to-one mentorships that a person evolves, imparts, so that there is an improvement in productivity, in performances, and probably there is an acquiring of skills or enhancement of their capabilities, as the case might be. All about it. Coaching versus counseling. Coaching is a function that involves the employee improvement of their skills and abilities. Thereby, it leads to a higher performances level. And this can be done by giving constructive feedback. Coaching, on the other hand, might be a completely a two-part process. It can be observations and it can be conversation. What do you observe? Observe the employee performances. Nowadays, you can talk, not only observe what other people performing in real time, but you can actually record your own performances in real time and review the thing all together. So this is also a kind of improvement with the advent of technology. Based on the observation, can what we proceed with the conversation. This is between the coach and the employee. Counseling is a function of trained professional that helps employee learn to solve their own non-job related problem. Definitively, yes, it's a non-job related problem that we talk around it. We aspire to go across it. So why coaching? Coaching is to evaluate the work performances on an ongoing fashion, on an ongoing basis. Remember, this only helps us, encourages us to function at the higher echelon. It optimizes the parameters of work. It manages, helps us to assess the time management, work management at the highest level. Coaching provides regular, I repeat, regular feedback and support about the employee's job performances, helps you to understand exactly what your employees needs to know. It prevents small problems turning into a big ones that may require much more attention and later at certain point of time. Is it all about coachable moments? Yes, a coachable moment is anything, anytime you observe an opportunity. There are no fixed time for it. It basically goes for incremental improvement. Absolutely enhance or redirects probably your performances. Appreciate them as and when on moment that comes around it. Coaching work best when it takes place immediately after a coachable moment. Coaching should not be left for yearly or semi-annual meetings at any way, any fashion. This is what we should aspire to do so time and again. Coaching should be an ongoing process at every point of time. There is not a particular definite time for coaching. It is to be done as on when you are doing it. If things are going wrong, things has to be improved. Give a proper feedback. If things are doing right, please appreciate the performances then and there. Now, this is what the appreciation will only reinforce the behaviors or the trust in the mentee or the coachee itself, probably to excel in themselves in the future. So what are the coachable moments? Let us understand. Coaching is a day-to-day interaction with your staff. Yes, did I say so? There are no fixed moment. It it is targeted to specific behaviors. Obviously, yes. Again, we are trying to improve upon certain perspectives, certain parameters that needs to be strengthened. That is what we are talking around in terms of recognizing strength, listening, advising, gaining an agreement, and constructive nudge that keeps on happening every now and then. So coaching essentially is a day in day out activity which is towards a particular behavior, which is towards being an empathetic, which is towards giving proper communications, towards having a proper communication between the coach and the coachee. It is all about gaining an insight. What is coaching not about? This is what coaching is not about. It is not about performance evaluation. Now, every time you have been rectified, do not think that this is going to be made a critic around it, or the performance has to be evaluation would be impacted. Definitely not. Coaching is all about two-way communication, and it is all about feedback. I have been talking about constructive feedback and not referring from the term from constructive criticism. So it's a performance evaluation and overall review. It focuses on the weaknesses. It's a lecture. It criticizes, giving an ultimatum and a kick in the pants that happens in and around. This is what we are looking into it. A performance evaluation and overall review, focusing on weaknesses, a lecture, criticizing, giving an ultimatum and a kick in the pan that happens every now and then. So why do we often avoid coaching? First and foremost is fear of confronting an employee with a concern about his or her performances. This is the fear that everyone have. It lurks in everyone's mind, assuming that an employee already knows that he or she is doing a good job. Little experience of coaching is required. So probably that's the reason why we avoid coaching, assuming that the employee will ask question which is inappropriate or probably when appropriate and does not need feedback. So either way, we require the coaching part. Probably that is the reason why we all avoid it. And last but not least is the lack of time. So these are the reasons that coaching needs to be done definitively in a fashion. So how do we go across with it? Remember, we are looking to find ways to improve upon the performances. So let us understand the very basic four coaching skills are all about it. First and foremost thing, your dignity. Your dignity can never be compromised. Enhancement of self-esteem is all about having a positive environment. It's all about having a nurturing environment is what we are looking as in a coaching thing. Remember, in coaching, it is the behavior that we communicate to. It is the focus on the behavior. It is never on the person that should be done for. So these are the basic coaching skill that comes around it. Never criticize the person, probably certain ailments that the person is suffering from. Let us try to address that ailments or behavior. Obviously use I statements. Be honest and opinionated. Be clear and distinct when you are using I statement. When you are using I statement, refer the coachee will always understand that what you are understanding, and it does not reflect the organizational understanding per se. Listening is necessary for a complete communication. That is what we are looking into it. Listening is absolutely necessary. Thereby, we want to look into it, maintain and enhance self-esteem to create a motivating environment. First and foremost thing is to listen to employees' ideas, make sure employees are credited when their ideas are successful, point out the positive behaviors and their effect, ask for example from individual own experiences, avoid arguments, making right and wrong judgments, and so forth. That is what we are looking into it. Listen, listen, and listen. If possible, bring out those ideas, voices, their opinions from the coachee. Try to give them credit when things are going in the right direction. Point out to the positive things. In fact, nurture those positive behaviors. Ask for example of individual experiences time and again. Avoid any connotations or avoid any judgmental fellows. Judgmental might give you wrong notions to the person altogether, and that is something which we all would love to avoid it. That is what we are looking thereby. So I'll give you certain example that can be used to enhance self-esteem. I'm glad you brought that to my attention. Remember the word I have utilized it. I'm glad that you brought to my attention so that you are in a way there's a problem that you are satisfying it or addressing it, but everything is so positive. Being glad that you have been responsible. It is the attention that we have gone around it. So that's a great question. I hadn't thought of that. Another way of putting the things around it. How to improvise. Absolutely. When you are instilling confidence and when instilling doubts in the mind of the coachee as to what can be the alternative, possible alternative way, half the battle is already won because the problem has been clearly defined and not by the coach but by the coachee. That's a great question. I hadn't thought about that. That's absolutely right. You are right. Everything is positive in this particular session. Excellent job. Good job. Everything again remains positive. I like your suggestion. We are going to start that next week onwards. Definitely all about positivism and it is all about enactment thereby. So this is all been reinforcing. Could you help me with this? What do you think we can do to handle this? I have a question, and I think you did know the answers prior hand. So basically, what you were you're trying to instill a sense of transparency and effuse confidence in your coachee. These are the statements that will enhance the self-esteem uh, of the coachee and probably are looking to build up a motivational environment in and around. But then what are the statements that needs to be avoided? Or what are the statements that threaten this motivational environment or makes a dent on the self-esteem of the coachee? I don't think you are able to handle this type of situation where you're putting everything on a negative connotation. You should know better than to say that. Absolutely, again, putting the blame on the other fellow. I thought you would have a greater sense of pride in your work. Probably, again, you are putting, where you are putting probably you are putting blaming the other person for no reasons and no rhymes. Probably the coachee would be under unduly stress, or let us mere fact the environment or the situation was simply beyond his or her control altogether. If you would have listened, you would have understood. You can't be serious about that suggestion. The situation takes some skill. Let me handle it. I'm surprised to hear that from a person with your experience. You just don't seem to understand. Now, what are we talking in this particular thing? These are the questions wherein the mere fact we are reading and reading it loud, you are imagining it. Please close your eyes and you'll imagine in these statements with a person pointing a fingers towards other fellow. These are the statements that we come across it. And yes, if you come across such statement, it means the environment is very demeaning. It means the employees or the coaches have been humiliated. It means that your self-esteem, there's a dent around it. And I'm sorry to state, in such an environment, probably things will not improve. And even if it improves, will not be sustainable in the longer run of things that comes around it. So communicate clearly what I would love to say around it. It is all been subjective of being positive attitude, lazy, good job, on time, enthusiastic, sloppy work, shows initiative, team player, and frequently late. This is what we are looking into it. So, what can be the specific about it? Be positive, be smiling, be polite. Remember, last to answer phones might not be the right thing. Met all the last year goals at her desk at 7:45 a.m. every day. Now, what are we looking at it is what has been expected and what has been going to go around it. So have that initiative, have those subjective, being very specific, being last, being answering the phone within 3 rings, always smiling, always polite. Every goal that has been assigned has been achieved at desk at 7:45, even though the reporting time is at 8 o'clock or 8 a.m. per se. And there are many certain specific which are absolutely smart goals that goes around it. Subjective is all about positive attitude, being lazy, good job, on time, enthusiastic, sloppy work, shows initiative, team player, frequently late, and so on and so forth that comes around it. These are things needs to be understood. Remember the utilization of I statement. I statement is all about honesties and open, transparency. I statement is all about building trust. Remember, statement describes behavior or result that you observe or you wish to see. That is what the I statement is all about. It. We have to follow the statement time and again. They are from your viewpoint, which cannot be questioned. The use of I statement reduces an employee ability to argue or disagree on a whether a particular issues or behavior has been appreciated or not. These statements actually promote a open, transparent conversation, leaves you from you statement, which causes an employee to be defensive. I statement are the best methodology of working it around, taking on the blame and not putting the blame on the other person. That is how things should always be in and around the statement goes around it. So, how do we go about with an honest, open communication? Let me give you certain examples. So use I statement. In case you want to use you statement, you could have always have done the I statement. Let's say I need to or you have to. So why have you have to? Why point a finger? Let us say I need. When you say you need, say I want. As simple as it is. It is what I am looking into it. When you wanted to use you should have done this thing. Let's say I noticed you could have done better. I noticed this could have been solved in a different fashion. When you wanted to say you must follow my instruction, you could have said I observed that certain of my instructions were not actually been very productive. Probably let us try to make it and work next time. So you know what you have to do it. When you always are negating my commitment or my complaints or you said this thing, you can always say I heard, I believe, and so on and so forth. So this is where which will boost your honest communication. This will make the you statement will make the person defensive and probably push him or her into the cell, and they will not like to come from the shell at all. So listening, good coaches are definitively good listeners. We listen to make sure what we hear others are saying. They respond in a way that shows our employees that they have been heard and understood. Good listening enables us to develop a rapport with our employees. That is what we are all about it. That is what we are all looking at it. Something which we have to say time and about. Tips to assist you in developing your skills is paraphrase. Once you have heard everything from your coachee, now can you paraphrase it to the coachee to make him understand that whatever you said is what the exact understanding is all about yourself? Is it correct or not? Clarify, ask questions time and again. You need to tell it if there are certain ambiguities. Let us iron out those issues completely for once and for sure. Take notes. Taking short notes will give you a record to refer back to help you to remember what was said and what can be done all together. This is exactly what we are looking at it. Yes, true, very true. Develop your listening skills because that is one of the most wanted skill that is required in your day-to-day working. Now, what else can we do is assist with your body language. 85% of the meaning is through non-verbal communication. You need to act or overstate what you say, maintaining the eye contact, nodding your head, smiling as often as possible. Feedback, tell your employees what your reaction is to what had been said. When providing feedback, it should be immediate, it should be honest, and not attacking on me. This is what we go around every now and then. Absolutely now and then, what we need to say it out. So maybe the most powerful principle of coaching is to understand that people are motivated by their reasons. By their reason, the word is there and not yours. So as a coach, it is not you which makes a difference. It is by their logic, and you have to, as a coach, your responsibility is to instill that logic in them, instill that motivation in them, imbibe a positive character in your coaching, have a motivating environment. That is the best way to put forward. And with this, I come to an end of this presentation. Thank you for watching this video. I'm sure you must have benefited after watching this thing. Thank you once again.